Hello, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host Gigi, and honey, I gotta tell you, it is some news that is coming down the pipeline dealing with Ray J and Brandy and Diddy. Okay, I don't know if you guys know, but recently Ray J, he was in the news. He was sitting down talking to Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj asked Ray J, are you zesty? Are you on a down low? When are you going to come out the closet? I did not know that. I had no idea that Ray J too was getting down with Diddy and the rest of these zesty men until Nicki Minaj put it all out there. He says he's not zesty, but he just want to support the zesty community. I don't know. Nicki Minaj did not seem convinced with that answer, and neither did a lot of people. However, Brandy, she is sick about this. She keeps on hearing her little brother in the news. Before this with Nicki Minaj, Ray J, he was in the news because they said Diddy's sons. And I got this tea from Sean Davy Way. He says Diddy's sons are all zesty. He says Diddy zesty sons checked Ray J. And that was all over the news. So Brandy, she is tired. If you guys know Brandy, she is an actress, she's a singer, and she always had a standard on how she represented herself and her family out here in this media. But she is so mad at Ray J because Ray J, just how he handled Whitney Houston, how he has all these shows that is promoting all this toxic waste in the entertainment industry and society. She is sick and tired of it. She is speaking out, and they are saying Brandy is fed up with Ray J behavior, and she is telling the world that Ray J, her brother, was in fact working with Diddy and how their parents were involved. And this is what I'm getting from this news report. I'm not making anything up. I will show you the news report that I'm getting this from, so you guys take what you take from it. But what I'm hearing is when they were young, you guys know Ray J and Brandy, they got into the industry at a very young age before they were adults. And this news article tells a tale that Brandy and Ray J parents pretty much handled them to the diddler. And that is why Ray J is the way he is now, and he is secretly in cahoots with the diddler. But they say everybody that worked with Diddy, they always turning back on each other, like Diddy and Ray J, they're enemies now. Like it's no friends in this game. And honey, that's why Diddy's sons went against Ray J, because they feel that Ray J flipped it on them and started talking horrible about their dad, okay? Honey, this is a lot of stuff going on. Ray J has been involved with Raspy and Chris Stokes. You guys remember the B2K boys, how they were pushed in the industry at a young age. And their own uncle, Chris Stokes, was having F-offs with those and having them mess around with each other when they didn't want to, but they felt like they had to in order to get into the industry. Honey, this is a very wicked place. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. Let's get these numbers up, and thank you all for the support. I really appreciate it. All right, so here it is. Let's look and see what they have to say.
Tension. Like, how can you go there? Like, I'm a woman.
Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil.
I ain't gonna forget where you come from. Yeah, love. Guy in the building. Hey, yo. This guy right here, one of the hip hop entrepreneur, young legends. He's in my gang. He gets money. Yes, he does. Yes.
Everybody knew he was in that hotel with Whitney. A phone call was made to a drug dealer, even though Whitney had just gotten out of rehab. Ray J left. The dealer came in. The next person that come in is Brandy, and she find Brandy dead. And Clive says, Whitney would have wanted us to party on anyway. You must be out of your...
Where were you when you heard it? How did you hear it?
I was actually in the same hotel. she passed in.
The Beverly Hills.
Yes, and we were all getting ready for the Clive Brandy party. Yes.
So Brandy is dropping bombshells about the family betrayal she suffered, not just from her mom, but also from her brother Ray J, who allegedly tried to get her to take part in Diddy's freak-offs. There's been a lot of talk lately about Ray J being one of those celebrity handlers, and while he often portrayed himself as Brandy's protector, there are some disturbing reports surfacing about Ray's ties to Diddy and Clive Davis and his role in handling celebrity women. From Whitney Houston to Wendy Williams, it seems Ray J was always around women who dealt with substance issues. On top of that, Ray J also recently made some questionable comments about Diddy on his new show, and this all got fans wondering if this is the real reason Brandy stopped inviting Ray J to family events. But there's a lot more to unpack here, so let's get into it.
You know, when you look at our mentors and the people that have kind of shaped this culture, it's important to acknowledge the mistakes that they've made. And we have to hold everybody accountable for what they've done. But I don't think this is a time to tear anybody down, right?
So there are rumors that Brandy's mother, Sonia Norwood, pushed her into relationships with older men in the industry, including Wany Morris from Boys II Men. Wany even admitted to being intimate with Brandy, despite their inappropriate age difference. And then later on, Brandy's brother Ray J allegedly became a handler for powerful industry figures, and some claim he even tried to involve Brandy in Diddy's freak-off parties. But let's start with Brandy and Ray J's mom, Sonia. She allegedly pressured Brandy to keep working without a break, and some insiders have said that Sonia was an extremely controlling and toxic stage mom who ignored Brandy's mental health struggles.
I can't believe that we produced, someone like her. So I consider myself the executive producer of Brandy. I'm the executive producer.
Mrs. Norwood decided to take control of her daughter's career and said goodbye to Stokes.
I feel like I would have been a better manager for Brandy.
But the real shock was when Sonia reportedly encouraged Brandy's inappropriate relationship with Wany Morris and even teamed up with him to control Brandy's life and career. In 1995, Brandy's career took off when she became the opening act for Boys II Men, but things took a dark turn when rumors started flying that Brandy, who was 16 at the time, was getting a little too close to 22-year-old Wany during this tour. And by the way, Wany actually met Brandy when she was only 14 or 15 while they worked on the song Broken Hearted. But despite Brandy's age, no one stepped in, and instead of holding Wany accountable, the media blamed Brandy, accusing her of chasing after him and stealing him from his girlfriend, Adina Howard. Adina, who was Wanye's age, also blamed Brandy instead of holding her boyfriend responsible for manipulating a teenager. She treated the situation like it was a love triangle and later described it as two young ladies who let their egos get in the way and were going through it about a guy.
Two young ladies allowed their egos to get in the way and were kind of going through it about a guy.
But it gets worse. When Wany appeared on The Breakfast Club in 2014, he was confronted about these allegations and confirmed that he was dating Brandy when she was below the age. He even acknowledged they were intimate when she was 16 or 17 and claimed she was old enough, but he did not mention his own age at the time.
Brandy even said to her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody, you only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love. You know, so if that was the situation, if that's what she said.
That's political, I like that.
I can't contest to her view about it. I can just only live by my view.
Revolt. Oh,
they were saying she was really young when y'all did.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
Gideon baby.
No, that's what I'm saying. But you know, that's why. But that's why I stopped it. Hold on. That's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boys II Men was young. I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time. You know.
So you were still a boy too.
I wasn't old. I wasn't like 38 years old, nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Okay.
So was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states. We
had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying? We just, we didn't do.
I have to stop here. I'm disgusted. Do you see how they just laughing about this like it's nothing? This is a child. You know, Keke Palmer just came out recently and she stated that she was 15 years old and her mom pushed her in a relationship with an older guy that was in his early 20s. And this was okay in the AA community. And it's just sad that still today they're not being held accountable. Hell, they're just like Diddy. They just like R. Kelly. What's the difference? Diddy and R. Kelly, they dating 15, 16, 14-year-olds too. You know? And it looks like all of them was all into it. All this Hollywood. Honey, comment, let us know your thoughts about this. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Gigi. Now let's continue on, okay?
To the states that it was legal, it was illegal in. Nice.
And then during Wanye's IG Live in January 2021, one fan mentioned Brandy, and Wany got visibly upset and claimed he and Brandy became friends after her mother Sonia contacted him to say Brandy was a big fan. However, Wany avoided mentioning his age at the time and only said that he wasn't 30, as if that made the situation any better.
So check this out. Brandy and I were friends in the beginning. Her mother and reached out to me, as well as my manager reached out to Brandy because Brandy was a big fan of mine. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because this young lady was pretty cool. Now I was young at the time. I wasn't 30 nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Wany then described Brandy as his protege and stated that he helped her career by introducing her to different industry people. He also claimed their relationship became intimate over time and framed it as two young people falling in love. However, he didn't mention that he first met Brandy when she was 14 or 15 and he was in his early 20s.
What happened is we actually, she became kind of like my little protege. You know what I mean? I'm the one that introduced her to Vita Spears and Ralph Foucault. They came to us to actually do a TV show.
I think the word is grooming, the G word. That's what he was doing. Met her when she was 14 and she was so thrilled and excited and looked up to him, just like Justin looked up to Diddy when he was that age, 13 and 14, just like Usher looked up to Diddy when he was around 12, 13, 14 years old. It's the same scenario. It's just one is homosexual, one is heterosexual. Either or, it's still bad and it's still illegal and it's shameful. No way. No way. And the parents.
On the UPN network, and I said, well, Brandy's down the hallway, and she's basically she was on the theater show. Okay, cool. Introduced her to that. The show came to fruition. My mom and I wrote the theme song to the Brandy show. So Brandy and I were really, really close. Once she turned of age, we had been hanging around each other so much. We've been hanging around each other so much that there became to be some sort of connection, an intimate connection. We actually fell in love. Now, we were young. That's what happened.
Came of age. She wasn't 18. She was 15. That is his identity of coming of age, 15, 16. That's not of age. She still can't drink. She still can't drive without parent supervision.
You're young and you fall in love, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you have the ability to be around somebody a lot, you begin to know things about them, you know what I mean? And they know things about you. Now, when you're young, you make decisions based on your youth, you know what I'm saying? You don't make decisions, moral decisions that put you in a whole position where you know that this is what's going to be for the rest of your life. You're learning through everything. And Brandy and I learned through a lot.
And then Wany also mentioned that he and Brandy's mother arranged for Brandy to meet Kobe Bryant and attend prom with him.
When it came time for Brandy to go on her prom, she was my girlfriend. Kobe Bryant was graduating from high school that year. Brandy was my girlfriend. She had just graduated from Pepperdine, and her mom and I, we both made it so that Brandy was able to go on tour. On the prom with Kobe Bryant.
Wany also claimed he was responsible for launching Brandy's career, and then he mentioned how Brandy's mom and dad were part of their relationship, implying that her parents were fully aware of the situation.
When it came time for Brandy to introduce herself to the world, I'm the one that actually put her on the Boys to Mentor. Okay, so she was with me. You know, she was my friend, and we became intimate in a relationship. There's no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy; she will tell you the same story. Relax on what you think, because I know, because I lived it, and so did Brandy. As time progressed, we grew out of each other. Yes, it was a hurtful thing. It was a hurtful thing to break up. That's what happens. You're in a relationship and then you break up. She grew out of me and I grew out of her. Might have grown out of her a little bit faster, but you know, it's the relationship. You're young and you make decisions. Next thing you know, that's what it is. Brandy's successful, Boys to Men is successful, and we're happy. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. We are happy. So whoever is there saying, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff like they know, you know what I mean? Regardless of anything, my age, her mother was definitely, you know, a part of our relationship. Her mother and father was a part of our relationship. They allowed me to guide Brandy and to help her through her career. They understood that we had grown close, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So understand that you know for a fact, whoever it is on there, that life happens. That's just what it is. So now you have your answer and you have your understanding. If you care to listen, you care to believe it, I don't care.
By the way, Brandy later hinted in her interview for Oprah magazine that her mother was more focused on being her manager than being a parent. "I just wanted someone to listen to me," Brandy said, "to see me as a human being. It seemed everyone treated me as if I were an item. I was too embarrassed to tell my mom about some of the things I was experiencing because of the good girl image that had been created for me. I couldn't really express myself to anyone. The public thought Brandy would never do this or that, but I was doing those things." And when Oprah asked Brandy to elaborate, she said, "When I was 15, I fell in love with someone who was 20. When I tried to talk to mom about it, she said, 'You're not in love. You don't know what love is.'" But to make things worse, Brandy was also reportedly betrayed by her brother Ray J, who developed a close relationship with Diddy and allegedly did all kinds of shady business for him and his mentor Clive Davis. Word on the street is that Ray was also involved in Whitney Houston's suspicious passing, which is like a double betrayal because Brandy always thought of Whitney as her second mother. Now let's first talk about Ray J's bizarre relationship with Diddy, because there are some new reports surfacing about Ray and those freak-off parties. It's no secret that Ray J and Diddy have been close for a long time, and there is plenty of footage of Ray J spending time at Diddy's mansion.
Nah, she got my oh, that, there we go. Oh, it may be, yeah. Yeah. All 2021. Yeah. That's what's up. We just out here enjoying life. Yeah, love.
And then there was also that wild incident with Fabulous when Ray J threatened Fab he would send one of his male friends who like men to grape him. And allegedly, he was talking about Diddy.
I'ma smack the shit out that.
Now we gonna try to get Fab on the line and squad. We gonna
on the line right now. I'ma smack the shit out that nigga.
You can't smack him over the phone, Ray, but
and they gonna wait that.
Oh my God. This audio of Ray J threatening Fab resurfaced again following Cassie's lawsuit, and it got fans wondering if this was somehow connected to that infamous Drink Champs episode when Diddy pressed Fab about why they never partied together.
Man, I'm talking about for your birthday. Huh? Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying? Eyes, brother.
Oh,
Eyes.
And then Jaguar Wright added more fuel to the fire by claiming that powerful industry figures use grape to maintain control over others. She also implied that Clive Davis might be protecting Diddy, possibly because Clive could be guilty of something similar.
There is a difference between homosexual relationship, consensual, and forced sodomy. Control. Black men are the most disrespected men in this country. But if you're willing to get down on your knees and open up your mouth wide, you become a part of an elite crew. Now everybody's afraid of you. Now everybody owes you.
And with all the rumors about Clive Davis being involved in Whitney Houston's death and then Ray J being one of the last people to see Whitney alive, this got people speculating that Ray is a handler and that Clive and Diddy used him to silence several women, including Whitney Houston and Wendy Williams. After Whitney Houston died on February 11, 2012, which by the way is Brandy's birthday, the official report stated that Whitney's assistant found her face down in the bathtub. However, several industry insiders later claimed that it was Brandy who decided and that Ray J left Whitney's room shortly before that. Leola Brown, the sister of Whitney's ex-husband Bobby Brown, also said that Ray J left the Beverly Hilton avoiding cameras shortly after Whitney was found. Leola even referred to Ray as a runner boy and alleged that he provided Whitney with a bad bag of illegal substances. And while all this was happening, Clive Davis was partying at the same hotel as if nothing had happened. According to CBS News, Houston's body remained in the hotel room hours after emergency responders pronounced her dead. Downstairs, Davis's extravagant party went on as planned, and another source said that Whitney's body was not removed until just moments before the party ended, a little after midnight. Now, as for Clive, he claimed the party was a tribute and that Whitney would have wanted it to be that way.
The Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
However, people who were close to Whitney, like Chaka Khan, criticized Clive and claimed his party didn't look like a tribute at all.
A true tribute, might have been a truer, a more honest tribute in my opinion, would have been maybe call everybody together, let's say a prayer, and let's eat dinner and go home.
Meanwhile, this video surfaced of Whitney interrupting an interview with Clive, Brandy, and Monica just 2 days before her death, passing a mysterious note to Brandy and repeating twice, "I nearly drowned today." What's also disturbing is 3 years after Whitney's death, her daughter Bobby Christina also died under similar circumstances. Bobby's former fiancé, Nick Gordon, found her face down in a bathtub, and according to the medical examiner, her death was caused by a combination of drowning and substance intoxication. However, the exact cause of death could not be confirmed, and the autopsy report stated, death was clearly not due to natural causes, but the medical examiner was not able to determine whether death was due to intentional or accidental causes. But get this, a finalized autopsy report later stated that Bobby Christina died of lobar pneumonia, which happens to be the same condition that Diddy's ex Kim Porter allegedly died from. Now here's where Jaguar Wright stepped in and claimed that Bobby Christina knew Clive was mistreating her mother and allegedly witnessed an argument between Whitney and Clive shortly before Whitney's death.
Her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Jaguar also pointed out that Whitney went to rehab before her scheduled comeback, but Clive Davis allegedly sent Ray J to provide her with substances.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? He let the dealer in that gave it a shot.
By the way, Diddy hosted another party at the Playboy Mansion on the night Whitney died, and things got so wild that he had to be hospitalized. This information was originally reported by Entertainment Weekly on February 13, 2012, and the report said, bad boy impresario Sean P. Diddy Combs was hospitalized last night for a severe migraine that developed after he returned home from the post-Grammy party he hosted at the Playboy Mansion. However, this report was recently removed from the EW website, just around the time Diddy's mansions were raided by the feds. But why would they randomly remove this article about Diddy partying at the Playboy Mansion the night Whitney died? It makes you wonder what else is Diddy trying to cover up. Anyway, just days after Whitney died, Diddy was a guest on The Ellen Show, and he got visibly nervous when Ellen asked him about the speech he gave at Clive's party.
I think you were the first, one of the first ones at Clive's party to speak about Whitney's passing the other day, and that was. Did you know her well?
Yes, I did. I actually, when I was growing up in music, I had success. I somehow got on the radio. I was at her wedding, but I didn't really know her.
But see, Diddy was never close to Whitney, so why would Clive choose him between all other celebs to give a speech about Whitney? Now let's switch gears and talk about Wendy Williams, because she's another woman who suffered a sudden health crisis after spending time with Ray J and after she spent years trying to warn people about Diddy. Wendy was always outspoken about Diddy's alleged DL lifestyle, and according to Diddy's ex-bodyguard Gene Deal, Diddy had Wendy removed from her radio show after she got her hands on some incriminating photos of Diddy with another man.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone. He said, let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on the radio station, he's talking to a radio executive. He said the same thing to he said, nobody that I deal with, nobody that I know is gonna do anything with y'all, no business at all. It ain't gonna be no artist, no nothing gonna come. He's telling people that at a radio station. When we got back to New York City, Wendy Williams was in Philly at a new station.
Wow.
That's the power he had.
We come from a very homosexual era of hip hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now. So
Jaguar Wright also recently pointed out that Wendy was the first to call out Diddy and his homo thugs. And then Jaguar suggested that Diddy most likely set Wendy up, similar to what he allegedly did with his ex Kim Porter.
Shout out to Wendy Williams, the first woman to uncover the homo thugs. That's what these down low bitches was called when Wendy first started talking about it in the 90s, the homo thug. She's talking about Diddy.
And then what's the stuff that's happening with Wendy Williams? You think this is all connection to?
Of course. They've been waiting. He's been waiting. He was waiting for Kim. Remember? He was waiting. The casket was ready. She was literally casket ready.
Now, it's also important to point out that Wendy didn't just talk about Diddy being in the closet. She also had information on different shady activities he was involved in, including alleged crimes.
Whatever. Puffy ran out of the club so fast and got into the waiting SUV that it wasn't until he got into the truck that he realized that he left Jennifer behind, along with his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf. He just ran.
Okay, he was arrested with a deadly weapon and battery and making terroristic threats.
So knowing all this, it's no wonder people are speculating that Diddy was somehow involved in Wendy's health crisis and her guardianship. But it's not just Diddy. In fact, word on the street is that Diddy used Ray J to silence Wendy, the same way Clive Davis allegedly used Ray J to stage Wany's death as an accidental OD. By the way, Stunna Girl recently publicly accused Ray J of providing substances to Wendy, and she said on her Instagram stories that Ray took Wendy on a substance binge and that she has not been the same since. Stunna Girl wrote, "Instead of constantly being worried about me, Ray J needs to focus on what he did to Wendy Williams. She ain't been the same since you took her on that binge." And all this got fans wondering about Ray J's status in the industry and his alleged role as a handler for female celebrities. And then Ray J also made himself look real suspicious after he recently defended Diddy on his new show. So Ray J recently addressed the allegations against Diddy on his new show, The Reality Check News, which premiered on Tuesday, October 8th. Ray opened the episode with a discussion about Diddy, claiming that his intention was to be the voice of reason. Ray admitted that Diddy was his friend and then went on an unhinged rant, claiming he created a roadmap to try to stop this from happening for our future industry. And the show became increasingly chaotic as Ray continued talking about Diddy in cryptic terms.
You forgive somebody for taking somebody. There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Actions are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay?
Now Ray J received a mixed response from his IG followers after posting a clip from the show, and a lot of fans said his ties to Diddy are the reason his sister Brandy cut him off.
Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. These are being taken in ways that nobody can expect. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Okay. That's the message. That was funny, fam. Now what? I don't use baby oil. Lube sometimes. Basically. Should I come out with Ray Y jelly?
And then in his recent interview with Chris Cuomo, Ray J said it's not the time to tear down Diddy. But if you look at his body language, Ray looked genuinely worried.
I want people to know about how these allegations hit you. Had you ever thought you would hear this about the man?
I didn't. And I think it's a different time in this game. You know, when you look at our mentors and the people that have kind of shaped this culture, it's important to acknowledge the mistakes that they've made, and we have to hold everybody accountable for what they've done. But I don't think this is a time to tear anybody down, right? Instead, it's a time for this industry and everybody that's going through this and seeing this to learn from the mistakes and create a roadmap for the future of the industry together, right? In unity.
What do you want people to know about how these allegations hit you? Had you ever thought you would hear this about the man?
I didn't. And I think it's a different time in this game.
So with all this sketchy stuff coming about Ray J and his rumored role as the industry handler, fans are wondering if this is the reason Brandy distanced herself from Ray. One fan said, Ray J isn't innocent. He's known to be a runner for other celebrities. Where was he when Whitney passed? Why was he hanging out with Wendy? The black community will tell you. We know the truth about you, Ray J. And another person added, Ray is on. I think we should genuinely be concerned because for his own sister to cut him off speaks volumes, and we ain't listening to the cues. But what's your take on all these allegations about?
Girl, sir, man, y'all, this is a lot. Let me know if you guys enjoying our segment on the Messy Sweet Spot. I am your host, Gigi, and I will see you guys on another video. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. Until next time, bye.